Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. We're actually starting in a very strange spot. I think I started the Dungeon Crawler Carl video with my husband in the car because it pretty much was almost entirely a car vlog. That's kind of what I want to do with this one as well because this is a super short audiobook. I'm probably going to be listening to it in the house, but it kind of would be fun just to give all my updates in the car. Little car vlog, a little different scenery than we're used to in the house, or at least even on my front porch. So this is an entirely out of the house vlog. That's how we're gonna do it. So anyway, I just started the Ghostwriter. So the Ghostwriter is our October 2025 book club pick. It is our horror pick. Originally, The Library of Hellbore was our pick. I did end up reading that earlier this year. It was a 5-star for me. However, I know that potentially not a single other person was going to enjoy that one. So I'm really glad we did end up changing it. It was not a good choice. It was not a good choice. I know a lot of people were really excited about it, but I don't think it was necessarily the correct choice. So I do think the Ghostwriter is a significantly better choice. I already have a friend of mine who said it was really, really good. She was very entertained, very fast-paced read. And that's kind of exactly what I'm looking for in thrillers that I choose for this channel, which is why we're probably not doing Riley Sager again after the disaster of With a Vengeance. So I am looking to switch up and do a couple of thrillers next year by different authors besides the normal one that we do in October. So I'm excited to read this one. So if you don't know anything about the Lazy Book Club, this is my little book club that I run on this channel where we don't do a live for the book. It is just us kind of hanging out and reading the book on our own pace in our own time and just making a little vlog about it, and then we talk about it in the comments. And so for October, we ended up picking the Ghostwriter, which is following our main character who is a ghostwriter, and she ends up getting chosen to help her estranged father write a book. I'm trying to be really careful with how I describe this book because I knew that from the synopsis. So basically her father was accused and primarily is thought of as the main suspect of this murder case back when he was like a teenager. So nothing ended up happening really with that. He got married, moved on with his life, had a kid, and became a famous writer. And the idea is that now she has been chosen to work on his new project. And so that's kind of the point, is her being a ghostwriter on her dad's new project and learning obviously what actually happened years ago. So I'm in already, but we'll get to that. That is the pick for October. This is going to be a fully spoiler vlog, so if you have not read the book yet, definitely go read the book, come back and enjoy the rest of the video. If you don't really care about the book and you just want to see what the spoilers are and what happens in the book, then definitely continue on in the video. But we are starting spoilers starting now. It is starting now. We are going right into them. I don't put a spoiler tag for this video because it is entirely spoilers. So starting with the Ghostwriter, we already are we're into the story already. We are in there. I feel like there's only one thing that I haven't like super enjoyed about the story, but I'm not surprised. It's like an aspect of it. So our main character is the daughter of this guy. She very early on states that they did not have a good relationship. He turned to alcohol and did she say drugs? I don't know if she said drugs, but definitely alcohol. And he just kept getting worse and worse as his writing career kept taking off. Her mother couldn't stand it anymore, so her mother left. That's what we're told. We don't know anything about the mother except for that she supposedly left. And that left our main character with the dad. He ends up shipping her off to boarding school, and anytime they are together, he is either drunk or too busy off doing conferences and stuff like that. So he is just a very absentee father. She eventually leaves, changes her name, becomes her own person. Nobody in her life knows that she is connected to this man. She is sick of being looked at as the daughter of this dude who is a famous horror writer and potentially a murderer. So she has moved on. She herself is having issues, which is why she ended up taking this job and really has no other option. Because if it was up to her, she would not be working with him. 100% would not be working with him. However, she ended up accusing a very prolific horror writer of misogyny and being sexist and just a very bad person in front of a large group of people on this panel. So she basically gets blacklisted as a ghostwriter and hasn't had any job or interest for over a year. And she is getting desperate. So when she gets a call from her agent, she's like, yeah, fine, whatever, I'll take the job. So she gets to her dad's house. He's like, yeah, I'm not writing a normal book. I'm not writing one of my fiction horror books. I'm writing a memoir, not about my whole life, specifically about the events leading up to the murder and what actually happened and my take on everything that happened. And so she's like, oh, oh. So she's like kind of excited that it's not like a new horror book and that she's just gonna be ghostwriting this thing. She is kind of excited to see what's actually happening, at least from his point of view of things. So that's kind of just immediately where we kick off. So some little things that we learn is our main character does have, I cannot remember her name for the life of me right now. She does have a very serious boyfriend who does not know who she is. I'm sure that'll come up later. They'll probably break up at some point, or he turns out to be creepy as well. He does not know her real name, her real background, nothing. And he made it a point that he does not deal with people lying to him well. So that is going to be obviously a sticking point. I'm not looking forward to that drama. To be honest, none of that needs to be in there unless he is somehow a culprit or something. I don't think that is the case. But it has hinted at that there potentially could be a different romance because she has to go back to her hometown because that's where her dad lives. And there is a boy that she talked about who was directly related to the murders. Like, I think it was his mother's sister was one of the murdered girls. Because the two people that were murdered were, I think it was a boy and a girl. And the dad supposedly was arguing with them. I don't remember if it was two girls or a girl and a boy. I can't remember. The names are a little bit odd. I gotta remember which one it is. I'm sure it'll be brought back up. But he, I think, yeah, is like the kid. He's like adjacent to it. And so they grew up together, kind of like seeing what their theories were and talking about it and stuff like that. So that's kind of a kid that has been brought up, and he apparently works in town still, like he owns something in town. So I'm sure that's going to be a thing. He's going to probably join in on the story because she talked about how she probably is going to need to go talk to other people that were involved in this, other family members. But the dad is adamant that she doesn't need to talk to anybody else. So the dad is having, what is it? He's having like a form of Alzheimer's or something where it's specifically affecting his writing ability, and so he hand wrote I think all of the novel or most of the novel, and just is having her come in to edit it and fix things and adjust things where he wants it adjusted. So she's not like actively ghostwriting. I feel like she's more of like editing his work, but she obviously is going to start looking into things. Like, I'm sure she's going to be reading this and something's not going to make sense, and then she's going to go and talk to people about what happened, because the dad did not talk to anybody. He said, this is my recollection of everything. I'm not sharing somebody else's story. This is my story and the events leading up. So he doesn't want her talking to anybody. She's obviously going to go talk to somebody. So that's where we are at in the story. I'm already having a great time. This is probably the most enjoyment so far I've had in a thriller this year. I haven't read a lot of thrillers, but the ones that I have read, haven't really enjoyed that much. Did I listen to? No, I did listen to The Lie. I liked Listen to The Lie. Anyway, that's where we're at. I'm having a good time. This is not going to take me long to get through. I am running some errands today. I'm in the middle of filming many different vlogs right now, so you'll probably hear me talk about this a couple times. But it is Monday morning. I'm going to go out and go to the pet store. I gotta go get Taz some food. I forgot to set up his Chewy order, and then I have to go run over to grocery store because the meat that I had thawed out, I think the vacuum seal was messed up on it, so something's funky with it. I have to go get new stuff for dinner, and I think I'm gonna get my Starbucks for the week. I have dropped down to 1 star. I got bad. It got bad. I was getting like 3 of my Starbucks drinks a week. No, absolutely not. One a week for how much sugar it has and the caffeine in it. That is plenty. I don't need to do any more. So I think I'm gonna go out, get my Starbucks for the week, and kind of continue listening to this while I read other things as well. So, I'm also gonna get the physical book today because I did end up getting book of the month. I actually originally skipped, but it is my birthday month. So I was like, that's a free credit wasted. So I ended up getting the romance because I think the romance actually sounds pretty cute this month. And then I got the Ghostwriter for my free birthday credit. So that's nice. I did not have to pay for that. So that's cool. So that is coming sometime today. So I will show you that starting when I finally get that book, so it won't just be a picture in the corner. I missed the part where they told us that Danny and Poppy, so it is a boy and a girl, Danny and Poppy were his siblings. I feel like I missed that. Because I don't remember that. From the beginning of the book, because she suddenly was like, yeah, my aunt and uncle, and I was like, who? Wait, what? They were what? They were what? So apparently I missed that. But yeah, they're siblings. So that was news to me. Okay, I'm back home. Ooh, okay. I have some thoughts. Because that quick little update I gave in the parking lot about them being the siblings. Okay, so Poppy and Danny are siblings of Vincent, I think. Is it Vincent? I'm liking getting Vincent's little chapters back to when he was a kid when the murders happened. Oh, okay. I'm so curious. Okay, let's, like, I keep saying okay because I'm trying to, like, connect things and figure out my thoughts with this one because I'm already, like, I'm in it. I am in the, oh yeah, I was at Ulta trying out different nail polishes because I have to get rid of all of mine because all of mine are nasty. So I did buy some new Hollow Tacos. I did end up getting this one. I think this is the one I'm going to paint my nails next. It's really pretty. And then I also got this one, a little different than what I normally would get, but it's really, really pretty. And I think with multiple coats, it'll be really nice because that's kind of what that one looked like. And then the darker one was like this. Again, multiple coats, it'll look better. And I also got a base coat and a top coat. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the timeline. Okay, so we have Vincent, who is the middle child. We have Poppy and Danny. Danny is the older sibling. He is a boy. And Poppy is the younger sibling at 14, girl. So they just gave us the information that Poppy does seems to have been killed in her room because Vincent made a point of saying that there was 2 bloodstains, Danny's in the hallway and Poppy's in her room. So that I feel like is going to be really important. We also have information that Vincent the next day, like in the motel, felt his head hurting from Danny slamming it into a wall. So that can mean that can mean one of two things. One, well, it can mean many different things. Vincent's painting this picture of Danny being this violent kid. So it is possible that Danny slammed Vincent's head into a wall after he killed Poppy or before he killed Poppy. The other option is that Vincent killed Poppy and Danny slammed his head into a wall, and then Vincent was able to turn around and kill Danny. So those are some of, like, the immediate options. Obviously, we were very early on into this book because my original theory, I feel like it's too simple for something like this, unless it is just unreliable narrator. If you go with what we have right now, just basing it off of everything, what we have right now does seem like Danny went and killed Poppy in Poppy's room. Danny potentially on the way to Vincent's room to kill him. I don't know the reasoning though. But Danny on the way to Vincent's room or just leaving Poppy's room, a scuffle happened and Vincent killed Danny out of self-defense kind of thing happening. And the parents are protecting Vincent because of what happened. So that's a possibility. Vincent is painting this picture for our main character of Danny being originally this really nice kid, and then something seemed to have changed about him, and he became more and more violent and more of a recluse and seemed strange. And so we also have this side situation happening. So it's not Alzheimer's, it's I don't remember what it's called. Something dementia, where, yeah, I generally do not read stuff with dementia and Alzheimer's in it due to personal family reasons. So this is a little bit tough. I do think it's being used very well. So we just had a scene where the dad, he's got a form of sundowners. So at night, the dad was having a hallucination and he's talking about hiding this knife in Poppy's hiding place or something like that in a windowsill. So I'm guessing when our main character goes back to like the house, like their childhood home, I'm assuming that's going to happen at some point, that there is a loose wall board or like something that you can like stick something, like maybe under the windowsill there's like an opening or a hollow point and there's going to be a knife in there or something is in there. So we already know that the dad is an unreliable narrator because number one, it is his story. Number two, we're told he is going to hallucinate and his memories are going to be changed. He also just seems like he does not want to be the bad guy in a situation. So it's any number of those factors can change how the dad is telling the story and what information is being fed to our main character. Like I said, if you just go off of base information at this point, it most likely looks like Danny killed Poppy, Vincent killed Danny. That is very obvious. I feel like that's incredibly obvious. I don't mind that being the situation if we go through a couple of other red herrings and then we kind of circle back and the dad like kind of has like a moment of like, oh God, this is what actually happened, and he's like blocked it out because of trauma. A lot of different options. Very many different options. I would also like to point out that I think it's really funny that I was so smug about being like, ooh, the childhood friend is gonna be the romance. No, he's gay, and or at least bi, and has a boyfriend. Very happy in his relationship. Was not expecting that. So that was funny. I was so smug about the story going in that direction, but obviously it's not going in that direction. So I'm kind of glad, because I don't want like a romance in this thriller. I just think that would take away from the rest of the plot. We are marching along in this book. I'm having a great time in this book. I feel like I'm like racking my brain to solve it, and I feel like it's been a while since I read something where I was like actively trying to solve the mystery. It is early in the morning. It's like 9 o'clock. It's like 9 o'clock, but like my brain is all messed up because of the time shift. So I woke up at like 8 this morning. I think 8 this morning, and my brain's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. And then it wasn't 9 o'clock. I'm just confused. I'm just really, really confused. I have to go out to the fancy grocery store today, which is 40 minutes from my house, because they have the brand of the thing that I use for this recipe. So I was gonna make breakfast buns yesterday, but that didn't happen because the dough that I had bought actually had fermented too much. So I don't make my own dough unless I am making like cinnamon rolls, etc. If I'm making these breakfast buns, I'm not going to go out of my way to make dough. I'm just not going to do it. It takes too long. I get too angry while doing it. So I go get pre-made dough from this grocery store that I like, but it's far away from the house, so I really go get it. So when my mom was here, I had went and got some, and I thought it would be fine for a couple of days in the fridge, but apparently it was not. So I should have left it in the freezer and took it out like 2 days ago to thaw out and to rise some. Yeah, no, I left it too long in the fridge, and when I opened it up, it was like a punch in the face of fermentation. Like, it smelled like wine extremely. Like, if there's a little bit, it's fine, but you can taste it. Like, I think I made it one time when it was too fermented, you could like kind of taste the wine taste, and it's kind of nasty. So I don't like wine. If you like wine, maybe you would have liked it, but for me, it doesn't work. And also, it was not good at that point. It was not good at that point. It was disgusting, and it singed my nostril. That's how strong it was. So that was really annoying. So I gotta go back up and go get new dough. So that's really annoying. So I need to do that 40 minutes away, which means that I'm gonna get through a chunk of this book. Back to the actual book updates. I did read some last night. I have about 2.5 to 3 hours left of the audiobook at 2 times speed, because I'm switching between like 1.7 and 2 times speed depending on the perspective, because some of them are a little faster, some of them are a little slower. So it's been alternating, and then if I do find myself wandering, I do slow it down a lot. But so far, hey, look at my edition actually showed up. I am about right here. I'm almost halfway, which is crazy because I only have 3 hours left of this audiobook. This is a very, very short audiobook. So the only thing that's really happened since I talked to you last is Poppy has her own perspective now because of the diary. And in that perspective, we are being told that there's rumors about Lydia being pregnant and is no longer pregnant. Then we are still getting fed the idea that Danny, it was bad. No one else seems to have realized that. No one else seems to have known that. But Vincent said that's because he was really good at showing this other facade in front of everybody. And then we did see Poppy talking to the teacher in Vincent's flashback. He was really pissed off about it. And it does seem like Lydia supposedly liked Danny, but again, this is all from Vincent's perspective, so we don't 100% know. Like, was Lydia into Danny first? Is Lydia into Vincent at all? Or is she going with the backup because that was easier? Is she pregnant? Was she pregnant? Is she not anymore? Like, there's just a lot of questions because you can't trust a single person in this book. Like, not a single person. So that's pretty much all we're at this point. Like, right now, our main character, she is in the old house, and she just found the thing that was hidden. It was not a knife. It was some like button thing that she had hidden, and that's it. And then she found something engraved by Vincent or written by Vincent that's like, you're gonna die or something like that. Something along those lines. So that's kind of the part that we are at. I am still waiting for the fallout with Tom, which I'm not looking forward to. Kind of just want to skip that happening. Hope he just takes it well. Like, wouldn't that be like a novel idea that he's just like, oh, I get why you wouldn't want to tell anybody. As long as you didn't lie about anything else, like as long as you are you, this is fine. We just have to work through this. I'm hoping that's the case. I have a feeling it's not. I have a feeling it's not. Oh, and they're trying to take the book from her. So they're trying to assign it to that guy that she bad-mouthed who sued her and she owes like $500,000 to. So a lot happening, but it's definitely slowed down significantly in this middle section compared to the beginning of the book. So I'm kind of hoping it picks back up. And I mean, it should. I feel like I'm going to finish this book by the time, well, I'll still probably have an hour left. So going up 40 minutes, down 40 minutes. Yeah, I'll still have probably like an hour and a half left that we'll need to finish up today, because I do have to finish it today. It is Tuesday. I need to finish this book today. So I'm officially back home and my thumb is in the camera. Okay, there we go. I'm officially back home. I did pause it. I had about 15 minutes until I got home, and I ended up pausing it because I have some ideas. I have some ideas and I didn't want it to get any further in the book because I only have about an hour left. I did not want it to get any further before I talked about what these theories are, because they could be proven wrong in even like the next 10 pages. But I have a main one, and then I have a this one would still work kind of thing. I feel like the more obvious one that we're kind of hinting at is that Poppy just got a new film reel, and our main character only has 10 that she can watch, but there actually are 11, we just found out, and the 11th one actually is going to have sound. So my assumption, and the more obvious route I feel like we're taking, is that Lydia got caught on film talking about who she got pregnant with. And when she saw Poppy recording, went to Poppy, confronted her, and accidentally killed her. And then Danny saw what would happen, went to attack Lydia, and Vincent intervened and killed Danny. So that is, I feel like, what the book is kind of almost leading us towards. But I'm really curious if Mark did it. Mark is the only witness that is saying that Vincent went back home, and that like Poppy wanted to meet with him, and he's the only one who saw them arguing. He's the only one who sees something different than a bunch of other people. I'm really curious if Mark SA'd Lydia, and Mark potentially was at Danny's house, and Mark is talking about it with Danny, and Mark sees Poppy recording him, and Mark attacks Poppy to get the thing and kills her, and then Danny starts wrestling Mark, and Mark kills Danny as well, and then Danny decides to frame it on Vincent. That's what I'm thinking. That is my primary suspect. That's my primary suspect. I think the teacher is a red herring. I think the cat is a red herring. I actually think potentially Vincent either ran the cat over with the car accidentally, or he found the cat dead on the side of the road and decided to bury it so Poppy wouldn't see the cat dead. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about the cat. I hate that the cat is dead. I was really sad. But yeah, I'm thinking it's Mark. And they even mentioned something about a car. So Danny and Vincent don't have a car to drive. It sounds like I don't know if they've really talked about it too much, but there was a moment where they suggested that Danny borrowed Mark's car. So Mark has a car to get from point A to point B easier than other people. So I'm really curious if he like drove Danny home and was there and said something and Poppy got it on camera. And because Poppy's little like things are talking about how she wants to get the whole story, so she's trying to record these things. And so I'm really, really curious if Mark killed both of them and is framing Vincent. Yeah. Okay, so that is my prevailing theory. I am home. I only have about an hour left, and I am ready to see what happens. Like, I am ready to get to the end of this book. Other thing before I continue reading, honestly, kind of wish I cursed on this channel, but I purposely chose not to on my channel. Tom can like go F himself. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people are going to feel differently about the Tom situation, but I am all about communication. I am very, very much all about communication, even if it means going your separate ways after the discussion. Like, that's the thing. If like she is telling him something, and obviously there is a reason she's lying about it. And I get he is a black and white person about lying, but if this is your partner, supposedly who you want the rest of your life to spend the rest of your life with, and who you trust with everything besides this like one thing, because you're not telling anybody this one thing because you're afraid of your identity coming out. It's a reflection more on how he handled the situation and not on her, because as your partner who's been with you so long, you should be giving the benefit of the doubt and at least listening to what she has to say. And after the discussion, you can say, hey, I still just can't vibe with the lying. We're done. Fine. You at least heard her out. You understood where she was coming from, and you are choosing to move on from the situation. I cannot stand that Tom, who have spent so much time with her, just goes, yeah, you lied. I don't want to know anything about it. We're over. To me, red flag, we're done. Like, if I was the main character, I'd be ending it with him, because the complete lack of just ability to look at anybody else's feelings other than your own in this situation, because that's what it is. I mean, he is ultimately thinking of himself and his traumatic past of being lied to by his family. He cannot think about another person's potentially traumatic past and why they may not want to talk about it. So it sucks that she lied. It sucks. Probably the second they started getting serious, she should have told him the truth before anything. But you need to understand each other. So it needs to be a discussion of, I'm so sorry I lied, but this was also a boundary for me, just like this is a boundary for you. And if you really care for one another, and if you're really adults in this situation, you can come to an understanding, again, even if it is breaking up at the end. So I hate that. I hate that. It should be a one-on-one discussion, really delving into what happened and just talking it through. Again, you don't have to get back together after this discussion. The only time that I'm like, yeah, don't ever talk again, is like in very specific situations, like, you know, abuse, etc. So, but this situation has none of that. So it's like, yeah, you need to talk. So I'm really disappointed that Tom was such a baby about this, and I'm kind of just done with him. Like, I feel like they're gonna get back together at the end or something, but kind of don't want them to, because I don't like him. I don't like that he immediately just wrote her off when she's having such a hard time. And that is so frustrating, because you never know what else he's going to decide to do later on. So anyway, that was my little thing. I know people are going to feel differently about the Tom situation. I know they're going to feel differently. That's just my 2 cents about it. So anyway, I'm going to go finish the book, and then we're going to talk about the ending, because I'm really curious if I'm right. We're practicing filming with the back of my phone, which is something I haven't done before. And it's really weird. It's really weird not seeing myself right there. I'm gonna have to get some sort of mirror or something to put in the back to make sure I stay in frame the whole time, because I have no idea if I'm in frame. And it's really weird. I don't know if the book is in frame. I don't know how people do this. So this is gonna be something I'm definitely gonna have to get used to. So anyway, I have finished the Ghostwriter. We are at the end of this vlog, and I think, trying to think of what rating I would give this, because I definitely have struggled with this. I ended up talking to a friend of mine who just finished reading this. Alyssa had finished reading it, I think last week, and we were talking about the ending, and both of us had a couple of like comments about the ending, but I think I'm gonna end up with a 3.5. I loved a lot of this book. I definitely thought it was gonna be like a 4-star, but unfortunately this was a really sad book. This is a really, really sad book. And I also, for some reason, didn't catch on to the fact that, I don't know why I thought that Poppy's chapters were journal pages, diary entries. They're not. They're literally her just talking. It's her point of view. And I don't know if I love that. I kind of liked the idea of these diary entries that might not be like reliable entries. So that definitely kind of shifted my opinion about the book as a whole, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, it's literally just her point of view, not her diary entries. So I thought that was a little bit interesting once I figured that out. But the ending was just, it was so sad. It was so sad. It also had way more trigger warnings than I thought it was going to have. There was definitely talks of abortion. There was talks of SA. There was, I think that was multiple talks of SA, multiple different characters. So I think when we talk about the ending, so obviously the important parts of the ending were, I was definitely wrong about the friend doing it. I got a little bit of the Lydia, like the first one, correct, where Lydia was there and she did murder somebody, but it was Danny that she murdered and not Poppy. I do think it's very interesting that the teacher is the one who came and murdered Poppy. I do think like the book is trying to give you a little bit of a hint that potentially Danny did kill Poppy, but because we have Poppy's perspective, we know that the teacher did it. The teacher came in, killed Poppy because Poppy had the tapes showing that he was essaying Danny, and then Danny supposedly comes in, sees Poppy dying, holding the knife. Vincent shows up and I guess attacks Danny. I'm not 100% sure, but I think, yeah, Danny smashes his head against the wall, and then Lydia shows up and supposedly kills Danny. And I do find it interesting that the final, like, script of the book that they're writing does not include, like, what actually happened. They are saying that the teacher actually killed both Poppy and Danny. And I did like that. Like, we're protecting the mom. The mom didn't know any better. I just don't know. It's just it's so sad. I think my biggest problem with this, like, besides it being sad, it's just not my typical, like, when I read a mystery thriller. I didn't love the Danny essaying Lydia plotline. I get why it's a thing. They're trying to hint at the fact that Danny was probably trying to prove that he had control over a situation and did that to Lydia. I'm also curious if, this is something Alyssa and I talked about. We were curious if it really was SA and it wasn't Lydia's mind kind of like protecting her because she killed Danny. And if he is that way, if he did do that, then that would almost make it better and it would make it more livable with, because she did have a crush on him at one point. So that's the problem. There's one of two things that could happen. Is she was interested in Danny and Vincent at the same time. Danny never showed interest in her, so she kind of gave up on that, ended up dating Vincent. But then when she got attention from Danny, she decided that she wanted to have like her moment with Danny, and that's what happened. And then her brain kind of tried to protect her later on. The other option, obviously, is that it was not consensual. Like at the beginning, she said it was, and then it turned non-consensual. So that is also a distinct possibility. So those are two very valid things. But again, we're never going to know because the mom isn't giving us like super in-depth details. And also you're never going to hear from Danny or Poppy. So that is also a thing. So that is something that is like unknown exactly if like what happened at the ending there. And then again, they tried to kind of hint at, we don't 100% know that Lydia killed Danny, but it's pretty obvious that she probably did, and that's why she's reacting the way she did, and she had to leave her family. There are some things that were left a little bit unknown at the end, but otherwise it kind of spelled everything out, and it was just, I mean, it's just horribly sad. It is a horribly, horribly sad book. If everything is the way it was with Danny being essayed by the teacher, I do wish that there had not been the storyline of Lydia and Danny. I do wish that Lydia had just been pregnant by just some random other guy. Like, not even, like, it was a big red herring and it was just separate. I kind of wish that had been the case, because there's like, you want to be sad, but then that happens, so you don't know how to feel about Danny. And I don't know if the author was trying to make you feel better about Danny's death by having him do that. I don't know. Like, I don't know the motivations at the end for why that had to happen in the book. So I definitely want people's opinions on that. Again, try to talk about this with some sensitivity because it is a very, very serious topic. So I'm trying to be careful with how I word things because I don't want this to become like a victim blaming situation or something like that. It's just how it was laid out in this book was very strange, and I'm not sure how the author wants you to feel about the situation, which could be the point. The author might not know how to feel about the situation and wants you to feel conflicted. So I can also see that. Very morally gray book. Everybody was kind of involved. A lot of things were happening. Poppy's story is so tragic. I did love... If I liked sad books, the end was very sad with Vincent talking about how his sister would always be there to pick him up. And I was just like... It's so sad, but also Tom can still F off. I do not want him to show back up. Like what if she had been lying about her family just because she had an abusive dad or something like that, or even just she's estranged from her dad and she didn't want to talk about it. And I feel like the only reason he came back is because the enormity of what lie behind the lie. So if it had been anything like mundane and she just didn't want to share it because it's just trauma for her, it's nothing crazy exaggerated, I don't know if he would have come back. I don't know if he would have been okay with that. So that's why I'm just like, I didn't want Tom back. I didn't want Tom to come back. But that's kind of all I have to say about this book. It was a very crazy ending. A lot happened. I just don't know how I feel about it. I love the rest of the book. I just don't know how I feel about that ending. So that being said, that is our book club pick for October. We are moving into November. So definitely leave a comment down below what you thought about this book, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you wish would have maybe changed. I still like my Mark theory. I think the Mark theory actually worked in my eyes better, but that's just, it's a less sad ending. I think that's why I like it better. And if you had nothing else to say, but you want to let me know that you're here, I guess leave a book emoji because it is the Ghostwriter. So leave a ghost or a book emoji and I'll know exactly what you're talking about. Definitely leave a like if you enjoyed it and definitely subscribe to miss any future content. We are moving into November and our book club pick is Alchemy of Secrets, and that is our final book club pick of the year. And then we'll be moving into December where we'll be working on our little mini relaxed readathon where we read sequels for the whole month. I'm really excited to get to December, and I am planning reading sprints, but we'll see how that goes. That kind of all depends on health and stuff like that. So anyway, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely make sure you pick up Alchemy of Secrets so we can read it together in November, and I'll see you guys in the next video.